Podcast Amsterdam.
So, Margaret is joining us for the next edition in our Middlebare Mashup. This is a focus on the processes involved in getting your child, transitioning your child from primary to secondary school. We've had a look at lots of interesting aspects so far, including the lottery system and, the other things got out of my head. So many things.
The advice.
Thank you. Yes, the advice.
Explaining the advice and then various schools already.
That's right. And so this week we're taking a closer look at some of the schools you've been looking at in a virtual way. Is that right?
Yeah.
Great.
So we're going to look at 3 schools today: Fons Lyceum, Ignatius Gymnasium, and the Vinse school. 3 quite different schools.
Yeah. And what areas of Amsterdam are they in?
Okay, so 2 of them, Ignatius Gymnasium and Fons Lyceum, they're right in the heart of Oud-Zuid, Old South.
Yeah.
And the Vinse school is located in Centrum, on the Haarlemmerstraat.
Oh, okay.
The first school we were going to have a look at was Fons Lyceum.
Yes.
And that's just there. It's right in, just off Beethovenstraat, basically. You go over the bridge and it's there on the left. So this school had a fire a few years ago. The whole place was almost gutted. Oh, yeah. So the kids had to move out and go somewhere else for 2 years, and then they renovated the whole building. Again, it's a gorgeous building in the Amsterdam architectural style.
Yeah.
So it's been renovated now and it's absolutely gorgeous.
Wow.
So partly because of this, it's now really popular.
Yeah.
It was a popular school anyway, but I think that the building is now just so lovely inside that it's enticing even more people to go there. So Fons Lyceum, it's a lyceum. They have about 1,000 pupils. Fons Lyceum actually means it's Latin for source of life.
Oh.
Yeah. Let me see, 45% girls, 55% boys.
Mm-hmm.
They offer 2 levels, HAVO and VWO levels. They usually have around 40% HAVO kids who get their diploma at the end, 40% HAVO, 50% VWO, and 10% Gymnasium.
Yeah.
Kids. So the Gymnasium group is quite small. I think that it's just 1 class.
Right.
Overall, and there's 1,000 pupils, so that's a small kind of aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
It was originally a Roman Catholic school, actually, but nowadays the kids and the teachers are from all faiths and none. So we saw their presentation. It was a webinar, basically.
Mm-hmm.
There was three teachers, 3 pupils, and it was nice. Yeah, it was nice. It was a bit boring, I think, really. It was kind of. I mean, look, to be honest, all of these things are a little bit like. They all kind of start to blend into one. You have to really kind of try and separate things out.
Yeah, no, I can imagine.
Stay focused on it, you know. So, we looked at this and it was nice. It was nice. My daughter was with me and she was trying to pull out some information from it as well. I looked at the school guides, all the 3 schools I'm talking about today. I also did research into their school guides. It's called a school guides.
Mm-hmm.
You can find it on their websites, and basically it's their school plan. So there's lots of kind of more detailed information about each school on that as well. So I've done both. We've looked at the webinars, the videos, and then I've looked at the websites themselves and translated those. Their lessons are 60 minutes long. They have a VWO Broek class, and then after 1 year, you can choose Atheneum or Gymnasium. And then they also have a HAVO VWO Broek class, and at the end of the year, you choose HAVO or VWO. So that's how they do it there.
Okay.
They say that they work with 3 core values. Their core values are commitment, so you form a close-knit community in the school, which in their view is the basis for successful transfer of knowledge and skills, etc. Responsibility is their second one. They want like a good balance between holding on and letting go and guiding the pupils towards independence, and personal development of social skills and critical thinking skills. So this one would be, I have a few friends whose kids are currently students in Fons Lyceum.
Yeah.
And that is definitely something that comes through from what they say. What they would say about the Fons is that it really it's really supportive to the kids. Kids who need a little bit of extra kind of sort of support or hand-holding. The Fons are really good at that. They have a really good support team in place as well. One of my friends said that they're also doing a really good job at keeping them informed about the corona measures. So the communication is really good.
Right. Yeah.
So okay. They're really happy. Both my friends' kids are really, really happy. They're both in second year now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So basically, it seems to be the kind of school that if you need support, the support is there for you, and it's kind of like a little. So it sounds like kind of when people describe it, sort of a little cocooning goes on, and they take the kid sort of by the hand, and if they need extra, then they'll get it, and they're very involved with all the children. So it's not like you land, like, say, compared to the gymnasia schools, you're kind of expected to have more. Well, you are, not that you're in the gymnasium, you're expected to have more independence, like almost straight off the reel, and you have to kind of hit the ground running and keep up with everything. So it's kind of, I guess it's for kids who are very, very independent. Whereas Fons Vitae, from what I can gather, is if kids are not ready. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's like if they're not in that space yet, the Fons Vitae will take them along and try and get them there, basically, or bring them along. So I suppose there are two differences between those kinds of schools. And they're both happy. Yeah, their children are very happy. They're delighted. I was going to say, one of my friends, her son actually left Ignatius last year. He was there last year, I think it was, and he then, it's called Zijn-instroom. So you basically transfer into the second or the third year. So you kind of side transfer. That's what it means.
Okay.
So for him, Ignatius was just too much. It was just too. Yeah. Really, really bright boy, but it was just he was kind of floundering there. Yeah. And then he went to Fons Vitae, and he's blossoming. So it's very personal. All of these schools, so personal on the kind of personality you are.
It's good that there's such a broad range of kind of response levels, I suppose, or depending on, as you say, on what suits the personality. The side transfer is is that a sort of a kind of standard thing? Yeah,
that's standard.
It's kind of well known that
yes,
kids might do that at some stage in the education? Yeah,
it would happen particularly, well, number one, if you're not happy in your school, but I think the more usual reason for it is when, the level that you're at isn't the right level for you, and then you want to drop down to the next level. Yeah. And if the school you have been in, like say, for example, a gymnasium, only has one level, so then you have to leave the school. Yeah. There's only gymnasium. So then if you need to go to Athenaeum, you have to leave. So that then you would be Zijn-instroming into another school. So it's not unusual at all here. Yeah.
And presumably for that reason, there's no particular, what's the word? Like a negative association with the transfer.
No, not at all. And here you wouldn't be kicked out of a school. Like, growing up, kids would be expelled in my school and you're suspended or whatever. Here it doesn't happen really. Like it's extremely unusual that a child would be, say, expelled for bad behaviour or something. It's just a different kind of way of doing things. Yeah. So no, generally the only reason that you would be leaving your school is because the level is not right for you, or else you're just not happy with how things are run or whatever.
I'm curious about that. If I can just, I don't know if I don't want to put you on the spot, but I don't know if as a child, as a teenager, that age anyway, I don't know if I would have understood that I was unhappy at school, or that I could even, that's an interesting one, because basically the thought that there was an alternative, that I could try another school, just it didn't exist. It's just not there. So your mindset, presumably, even for a youngster, is maybe in a different place because you have this understanding that there are alternatives out there. But do you actually recognise, do you have the kind of inner vision to understand when a place makes you happy or not, or is serving you best?
That's a good question. And I think especially, sometimes as a teenager, you're just not sure. You have so much stuff going on internally, and it depends how good you are, I suppose, at expressing that.
Yeah.
Verbally outside to somebody else.
So
who can maybe help you make a decision or something. That can be hard.
Yeah, probably your parents and teachers would perhaps see it more clearly than you would yourself. But then, I'm
you would hope.
digressing into a whole different area of psychology. But
I understand what you mean. So you would hope if you have kind of intuitive people around you, your teachers and your parents, that they would pick up on that something isn't quite right. Well, I suppose in the very factual sense that school would see, by virtue of all, by testing you, because testing here is kind of quite common, as the year goes on, there could be weekly tests. So, I mean, it would become apparent after your first or second report that, say that the level is not for you maybe, or that you're struggling or you need some help or support, so, but there is definitely, you see, I think the mindset here is so different anyway, right? To the Irish or the English or the American mindset, or even Asian. So here, even in primary school, it's not unusual at all to double a year. They call it doubling. They don't call it repeating. So it's not unusual. And kids move on in their school career, quote unquote, when they're ready to. So there's a lot of emphasis here on personal development, personal and social development in primary school. So, for example, if you need to double, in Group 1 and Group 2, they're usually together, those classes, at the beginning, the 4 and the 5-year-olds. But if you need to stay another year, there's often lots of 6-year-olds in Group 2. So they could do 2.5 years or 3 years in Group 1 and Group 2.
Really?
So it's until they're ready to move on. And there's zero stigma. Nothing, it's just totally normal. And the way they talk about it is well, he's not ready yet, he's not ripe. They use this ripe there's a Dutch word which I can't remember, and it translates into ripening, which I find a bit weird, thinking of a fruit, but that is literally how they describe it. He's not ready yet, he's not happy in his skin, so he's not ready to move on. And they really put so much emphasis on that, which I love. I just think that's wonderful.
Yes, I do think that is a really refreshing take that the Dutch offer.
It really is. Yeah. So that mindset then is also there in Middlebare school, So if you need to repeat a year, to double a year for in any year, well, apart from first year, I mentioned that last week, that it's unusual in VWO to repeat first year. Then if you fail it, you have to go to HAVO usually. But anyway, overall, the general thing is if you need to double a year, you do it, and there's no stigma. It's incredible among the students, among the teachers, and I know this from personal experience. It's just seen as, well, why wouldn't you? That's the right thing to do. You need another year. You're not ready yet. You're going through maybe hormonal stuff, personal stuff for the year. So this is your option. You can just double. Yeah. My kids have friends who have doubled. My son has doubled. It's just there's just no hassle with it at all. It's great.
Yeah. Really good.
Yeah. So that's what I was going to say. So then my friend, her son transferred then into Fons Vitae, and he's totally blossoming. It's just totally the right school for him. He's clicked with teachers, he's clicked with friends. He didn't really have friends in his school before, the other school. It was just the wrong place for him. The care team there in Fons Vitae it's really good, she said. When he started, they had meetings with the year coordinator and the Zorg team, that's the care team, to make sure he was integrating and for them to get an idea of what his issues were. So he now actually, he has a group of friends.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
so they're totally happy.
That's
great.
Wonderful. That's really good to hear, and just amazing that there is that level of holistic support available in a state. It's a state school, right? Which again, I can only keep making comparisons with the UK system, as that's all I know. But I just don't think that would be happening. I mean, there is some, but to the degree to which you are describing it and how personally tailored it is, it's extraordinary.
Yeah. So her quote now directly, she said, "My boy, who never felt comfortable in art class, now actively enjoys his culture stream classes, and he's gone from failing French and German to rocking both of them. The support team is great."
Let's just make it's getting me right here, Margaret. That's good.
Yeah, it's great.
It's great because
my other friend says that too about the place. Yeah.
Wonderful. I mean, because it's just fostering a lifelong interest in learning. If you're given this, this ability to sort of tailor to your needs or your own pace, you're never going to be put off learning that way. That's just incredible. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
Practically speaking, they use a mix of iPad and books in Fons Lyceum. Okay. They have 2 sports days a year. They also take part in a national hockey competition. Some schools do that and lots do not. Because sports here, generally, unless it's a sports profile school, most schools, basically in the Netherlands, like the sports clubs are external to school. So like, in Ireland, you'd have lots of sport teams within your school, and you play loads of stuff. Yeah. But here, I guess it's the same in the UK, but here sports teams are outside of the school. It's just different, which is nice actually as well, because then you can make friends who are not even from your school. So you get to Exactly. So Fons Lyceum, they also have a musical theatre performance every year in their underbouw. So the underbouw would be first, second, third year. They have 2 alternative teaching weeks in November and in March, and they're called project weeks, basically, where they work on cross-curricular projects on a specific theme. So they kind of integrate the subjects, interdisciplinary, basically, which is nice. And the rest of the time, it's pretty much classical teaching. That's kind of what they call it here as well, regular teaching. They have a brute class camp. Every school basically has a brute class camp. That's like a first year camp, usually at the beginning of the year, where the kids go away for 3 or 4 days to get to know each other with their teachers. They have a theatre visit in second year, and then in third year the camp is they go to the Ardennes, the Ardennes in Belgium, the mountains, or they go to Trier, which I think is in Italy, northern Italy. Yep, I think so. And then I think so. And in fourth year, then they have in fourth year HAVO and fifth year VVO, you go to either Rome, Berlin, or Edinburgh. So they're kind of the language / culture trips. Yeah. But they also have other stuff, and they go to the European Parliament as well. They're also, what's interesting about them is they're the only school in Amsterdam that has is a certified gifted profile school. So what that is, basically. Yeah. So what that is, basically their vision is that they will tap into the talents of all the children. So their teachers are trained in, there's a particular kind of training. Oh gosh, I can't think of the name of it right now, but BPO, I think, or something. But certain members of their staff have been trained in, I guess it's around like helping gifted children. Right. So kids who have a super high IQ that may not be, because lots of gifted kids, they don't thrive in regular schools either. So they have a special team for that. So their whole philosophy is like that they help kids get their, pull out their talents and work on themselves. But they also are specifically trained to work with gifted teenagers. Yeah, so and they're the only one in Amsterdam who have that certification.
Interesting.
Actually, not even Amsterdam, just I think in this general region, I think.
So they're looking at their pupils and pulling out, or recognizing when a child has certain gifts in certain directions or whatever. But if you're a child with gifts in any other part of the country or even Amsterdam, are you going to miss out in some way because they don't have these specially trained teachers in their schools?
In other schools?
Yeah. What happens if you're a genius somewhere in Brabant?
Well, I would say, I mean, there are some of these gifted profile schools around the country.
Right, okay,
not just
sorry.
Here. Yeah. But around, I suppose, other very high IQ teenagers, lots of them would also go to gymnasium schools.
Of course,
well,
yes.
For the real academic challenge, too. And depending, I guess, on the gymnasium. Again, they're all quite similar in ways, but they're all quite different in ways. How trained they are in helping kids like that as well.
Yeah.
So the other comment my friend has, she messaged me this morning. She said there's beanbags outside the councillor's office, and she said she thinks that speaks well to the vibe there.
Yeah.
You know? So it's that kind of cozy kind of school.
Lovely.
One more thing about Fons Vitae. So they're hopefully going to have mini lessons between the 8th and the 19th of March. They put that up on their website. Live mini lessons.
Oh, yes.
So they said that the final decision will be made at the end of February, and then they'll start selling the tickets immediately if they're able to do it, depending on restrictions. So they're hoping to have little mini lessons going in the 2 weeks in March. So hopefully that will happen.
Yeah, really good.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Okay, so that was Fons Vitae.
Fons Vitae Lyceum.
Yeah, Lyceum.
Yeah, and it's colloquially known as the Fons, kind of. That seems to be what kids call it.
That makes me want to ask, is Fons a known character here from Happy Days?
I don't think so, actually. I don't think so. My son has friends there. I must tell him to ask them, do they know about the real Fons?
Podcast Amsterdam.
Middlebare Mashup with Margaret Kearns, and in which we dissect the process behind the selection of your Middlebare school. So, Margaret, you have told us about Fons Vitae School in Old Saud, and now we have a second school in Old Saud, Ignatius.
Yeah, so this is Ignatius Gymnasium. So you need a VWO at Vinse to go there. Mm-hmm. They're right across the road from the Gerard van de Veen school that we talked about last week, to also just off Beethovenstraat, so nice central kind of location. Yeah, Ignatius, they have around 800 pupils. So, when I say gymnasium, just to remind people, that means Latin and Greek. So you have your regular VWO subjects plus Latin and Greek. They're unusual because their classes are 70 minutes long, so it's classical education. They have 70-minute long classes. The reason for that, they say, is because it gives enough time to kind of really get into the subject, maybe to finish off an actual topic. And they also kind of build in some time in there to do a little bit of homework or to ask questions to the teacher. Yeah. So that's the optimum class time. And then as a result of that, they have 4 lessons a day. Yeah. So basically, I think it's 2 in the morning and then 2 in the afternoon, as far as I can remember. So you have less books to carry around with you as well, whereas other
this
schools...
is quite a consideration.
When you actually think about it. Yeah. Because, my kids would often have, really heavy bags. Now, they have lockers as well. One of them uses the lockers and the other fella doesn't, for some reason. Very heavy school bags. So Ignatius, they have lighter bags anyway, so that's nice. Yeah. So on their website, we've watched... we had a rondleiding, which is like a tour around the school. A couple of students did that and introduced us, to the rector and to the lady working in the library. They also have short films on their website about a selection of subjects as well. And also they say that in the middle of February and early March, they're going to have live panel talks with students from Ignatius. So you can register for that. Yeah. So
when you say live, you mean physically in a room or?
No, sorry. Online. Online live.
But live, Sorry.
Good. No, good that you said that. So they're not saying anything at the moment about whether they're going to have actual physical open days going on. So it really depends. Some schools are kind of inching towards that and hoping they can, and then others are not going there yet, I guess. Yeah. So, Ignatius, they were founded by the Jesuits, actually. They're rooted in the tradition of the Jesuit fathers. They were founded in 1895, but they moved to this school. The school was built, I think, in 2011. So it's a new school. It's nice. It's a nice building, and so religion. I mean, they say on their website that the religious expressions have been dropped, but the philosophical education has remained.
Okay.
So it's a very classical education, kind of really rooted in philosophy, I think. This is kind of typical for gymnasia as well. They and Ignatius say it explicitly. They say that they offer a wider range of knowledge and skills than a standard VWO curriculum. So yeah, even though you have your regular VWO curriculum and subjects, they also offer kind of extras, like extra modules in fourth year, same as Vossius does. They different excursions, that you might get there that you wouldn't get maybe in other schools as well. So it all kind of combines to, I suppose, offer a very kind of rich, if you like, a rich cultured education. That's kind of but classical cultured education. Their profile structure is a little bit different as well to other gymnasia and VWO schools, because usually, I mentioned the profile structure last week, there's 4 profiles that you have to do. You can choose from one in fourth year, but usually there's 4 subjects in the profiles that you have to do in each profile. But in Ignatius, you only have to choose 3 subjects in each profile. So then you can add on other courses that you want to do. So they say it gives like a broader kind of a broader education. Okay. In the latter years. Their teachers also sometimes design lessons together, which they believe kind of contributes to the improvement of the quality of the lessons. And actually that reminds me, because I've spoken to a Bassus school teacher here, whose child attends Ignatius and also attends, she has children in other schools in Amsterdam, Gymnasia as well, but she feels that Ignatius they're really good at, the teachers work together a lot. Yeah. So that kind of tallies with what I read in their website as well, that they sit down together and they design lessons together so that they're not, I don't know, so they complement each other more, I think. And they believe that kind of improves their quality assurance as well. They're also, according to her, highly organised school as well. They have they have an in-house homework institute. Basically, you finish your school day, and then within Ignatius, you can just attend. It's called Huiswerkbegeleiding, so you can attend like basically homework club. But it's not free. It's outside Homework Institute. Okay. Come here and offer their service into Ignatius. So parents pay for it basically. Yeah. Okay. These things are not cheap either, by the way. It's a few €100 per month. Oh, that'll add up. If you go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but I guess the education is practically free. Yeah, so that is. Yeah. But anyway, so you don't have to leave your school and go somewhere else. You can stay on in Ignatius and finish all your study there if you want, if your parents pay for that. They have a course as well that they developed. It's called X8. It's a modular course where topics are covered thematically. So like, for example, biology, programming, technology, maths, physics. That's kind of, I think it's maybe an hour or something like that. But anyway, it's a course that they developed, I think, in the underbouw, the younger years. Yeah. And so again, it's kind of interdisciplinary kind of teaching. Yeah. So that's sort of built into their curriculum. They also have Cambridge English. You can take your Cambridge English exam there. You can do a Delft certificate for French, and they have the Goethe certificate for German. Yeah. Vossius has those also. Yeah, they have an orchestra as well, and they have music evenings. They also organize sports days, and they take part in that hockey tournament that I mentioned also. Yeah. That national hockey tournament. And they have a theatre group. Oh, nice. So, yes. So I think a good range. That's Ignatius. Yeah.
Okay. I've got one question. It's a more general question, just based on some of the examples that you've given me. It seems that it's much more common here for siblings to end up in different schools than it might be in the UK. It's so sort of geographically driven in the UK, I think, that kids will just generally go to the school nearest to them, and therefore, so as siblings, they'll go to the same school. But here, obviously, it's much more tailored to the individual, and that means that, as I say, siblings will quite likely to end up in different schools. But does that present a kind of logistical extra challenge? I mean, are holidays kind of...
No, all the holidays are the same in North Holland, actually.
Right.
In our region.
Okay.
Yeah. So, for example, in the basic schools, in the primary schools, what might change is, like, some schools might have an extra week maybe for the midterm. Like our school generally has 2 weeks in February off instead of one.
Yeah.
But there's always a core holiday that is applicable to all the schools. So, like, and also with the secondary schools. So they always coincide.
Okay. Yeah. So
they always coincide.
Not end up with some
no
elongated process where you've got one kid at home and another one at school.
No.
Yeah, okay.
No.
Good.
This is the Netherlands. It's so organised, Geli, you know.
Imagine that.
Yeah. And the other thing, logistically wise, well, I mean, here, like all kids cycle to school.
Yes.
Teenagers, I mean. So once you go basically from into secondary, you are on your own. Like you're cycling to your school without your parents. So it's just a rite of passage.
Yeah.
So no, it doesn't make any difference what school in that sense, because the kids just leave the house in the morning and they head to their school.
Yeah.
You know, usually I suppose kids like to have school within 15 minutes of biking, but definitely depending on what school you like or that you might get in the lottery, you could be cycling 25-30 minutes to your school, and you get used to it really fast. So I hear my kid's school is 15 minutes from the house. One of my kids is often late, or I say he's going to be late, and then he tells me no, it's only actually 10 minutes. But then he's not leaving time for getting the bike all locked up and down and fixing, stalling and stuff. But anyway, he ignores all of that and he says, no, it's 10 minutes away. But then they have to deal with the consequences of that as well.
Yes.
So if you are late or too late, or you've done it a couple of times, then you have to, or whatever. Then you have to come into school the next morning at 8:00 and pick up, I don't know, papers in the yard or something like that. They have concierge. So all the schools have concierges, and they kind of will give them little tasks to do, or to move boxes from here to there or whatever.
Fantastic.
So it is.
So they'll learn.
They learn. Yeah. So it's funny because my two teams are so different, and that one is like super early, and then the other one is more, he just cuts things fine. Yeah. And one is like one parent, and one is like the other. I'm going to leave you to guess who's who. That's funny. Carbon copies.
Yeah, that is funny. All right, so thank you for that. So that was Ignatius. Yeah, and going to come back with, now, I got that it was in Centrum on Haarlemmerstraat, but I didn't get the name of the school, sorry.
Vinse school.
Vinse.
So, Vinse, my pronunciation probably isn't great, but it's like my daughter would say, like Vinse school in her Amsterdam accent. Okay. So it's Vinse. So, Vinse school.
Okay.
Vinse. Yeah.
Good. I'll just leave it to you to pronounce.
It's a bit of a tricky. It's a bit tricky, all right.
Broadcast Amsterdam.
We are now into the third school. Margaret's going to tell us about the third school as part of our Middlebare Mashup series. So, Margaret, Vinse school?
We go with Vinse school. Vinse. Okay. The funny thing about here is, it's a V, but they pronounce their V's like sort of a soft F.
Yes.
So that's where the pronunciation kind of is a bit tricky then. It looks like Vinse, but it's actually Vinse.
Okay, thank you. That's
Vinse school.
Very good explanation.
Yeah, I know. I think once you realise that, lots of things become clear.
Yeah.
So even when you say, like, the VVO, it's anyway. Oh no, I'm actually not going to get into that. I'll get mixed up myself.
No, but I know where you were going. Yes, you're right. Once you've got a handle on the pronunciation of the letters, it does help you go a lot further. Yeah. Good. Anyway, so how was your experience with this school?
Yeah, we watched a webinar as well, an introduction by the director. She's young and very enthusiastic. It was really nice. And then some kids, then there was little videos of children talking about the school. But funnily enough, it just didn't appeal to my daughter, and I was disappointed about that. Yeah, she just felt like it was a little bit, this is just like totally subjective 11-year-old's opinion. I mean, what does she know really? But she just felt like it was a little bit too, I don't know, unstructured or something for her. Now she goes to a Montessori school and is very used to independent learning, but it's also very structured, you know? So yeah, there was just something about it. And after 10 minutes, she just said, oh, no, I'm just not interested in this school. So
was there a kind of fatigue setting in at this point, do you think, with the whole research process? Or
Also could be, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just not easy for these kids to try and figure all this stuff out. Yeah, it's awful. It's really hard for them. It's really hard to try and detect
this
anything.
This is what I still kind of try to get my head around, as sort of marvellous as the system seems to be in kind of tailoring to the individual child. And, once you're there and in the right place, it does all sound really fantastic. But this process that we're talking about, this process of nailing down your 12 schools. Yeah. As an adult, I would struggle, but for a child, it must be just mind blowing. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, that's my little aside.
No, it's
Carry on.
I totally agree with you. I mean, I'm trying to keep down the panic as well. Yes. It's rising, starting to rise.
Sorry, I'm not helping.
No, it's actually nice to have some empathy here because, it sounds all lovely and everything. But then, I mean, there's so many different steps to take. So first you have to get your advice, and we just got the advice on Monday, or she got her advice. So, and then you think, okay, great, we got the advice. Now we know what schools we can really look at or focus on. But then you still have to really look at 12 schools and list your 12 schools, and it's madness in a way. But look, that's how it is. Yeah. We just have to get and it's just more difficult now because
exactly
because it's online. Yeah. But sure.
Yeah. All right. So how did you get on with Vinse school?
Yeah, Vinse school. So I looked at their website, but I also have a good friend whose son just finished there, so that's also good. Yeah. So I have her experience as well to talk about. So the Vinse school basically they use the Finnish model of education.
Right.
Yeah. So the Finnish pedagogy. That really influences their approach to learning. And they also were based on the principles of a Dutch educational pioneer. His name is Kees Boeke.
All right.
From the 1920s. So basically he founded the Werkplaats in the mid-1920s, which was a school for the head, as he called it, the head, heart and hands.
Oh.
And he envisioned the full personal development of the individual. So the Vinse school take his principles and they sort of merge it with insights from the Finnish field of education, approach to education. But they also say because the Dutch education legislation differs obviously from the Finnish one in terms of structure and compulsory education, because here you have to go to school from the age of 6 up to you have to be in education from the age of 6 to 18. It's compulsory, and you know how they're so strict here with taking days off and everything. They have a leerplicht law, but you can be fined every day that your kid is not in school, like €100 if they have unauthorized absence.
Right.
So that would be quite different to the Finnish model, I think. So they're not a Finnish school, but they definitely use the insights that have been gained in Finland.
Yeah.
So that's quite interesting. They're also a new school. They began in August, start kind of putting it all together, August 2015, and I think took their first students a year later. They say that they're in order to really guide the students within their subject matter, they take teachers who really have a thorough knowledge of their field, and who also have an approach the teachers have an approach that's based on understanding that not every student is the same and focus on what really works, demonstratively works. The level of student, so at least that you must have to go to the Vinse school is VMBOT, HAFO and FEVIO. So they're the 3 levels that they provide for.
Yeah.
But they're different also than a traditional school because you can sort of mix your courses. You can mix your subjects at different levels.
Yeah.
And you can also kind of, like, for example, they don't stream you, if you like, until the end of the second year. Mm-hmm. So they make that decision a little bit later.
Yeah.
They use books as well, and then you get your report 4 times a year as well. So that's kind of like a traditional Dutch thing as well. So their real focus basically is they're a creative school. So they're looking. It's a school for creative and artistic children. Mm-hmm. Like that's their big selling point.
Yeah.
So last week I had mentioned Gert van de Veen. They have different options for creative artistic students as well.
Yeah.
But the Vinse school is different in how they provide that type of education. They specifically look for qualities in their incoming pupils, like an interest in art and culture, and also the ability to work independently. They say that the characteristics that make a pupil suitable for their education is a demonstrable interest in art and science, a fundamental curiosity about what the school has to offer, ability to work independently, and you must also be able to follow a program at those 3 levels that I mentioned.
Yeah.
They also would have, I would say, a not insignificant number of kids who are also Zijn instromers, so who move from another school to their school.
Okay.
But they have an admission procedure for that. So they're very open to kids moving from other schools who maybe didn't fit into, I suppose, if you like, the traditional model.
Yeah.
But they still want to interview you and make sure that you will match, I guess, that your characteristics are still suitable for their school. My friend, her son moved from Gymnasium in 3rd year into 4th year at the Vinse school a few years ago.
A big change, isn't it?
Completely.
Style. Yeah.
So totally different. Yeah. So traditional education to very, I suppose, untraditional education, basically. So they were a little bit like, uncertain about how that was going to go, but he thrived there.
Oh, great.
Yeah, he really did. And he's a very artistic child anyway, or young man now. But it just worked out so well for him. And he got his VVO diploma. And they just feel, that it's really a place where you can really develop yourself and just be free. So it has that sort of freedom there that, maybe you don't have in a traditional school. I don't know. Yeah. But again, very personal. But they were super happy.
Great.
He was very happy with it. Very happy.
Yeah. So is the structure of the teaching, very different to the classical school structure? Lesson times and...
Yeah, I'm not sure how long the lessons are now, but they have a big emphasis on learning by doing. Yeah. So what they do is they have their teachers, but they also work. There's a lot of education that's kind of off-site, if you like, or not school school located. So the kids can work on creative projects and artistic and technical productions outside the school environment as well. And they collaborate very closely with creative professionals. And that's very structural. That's literally part of how they run the school. Yeah, so a big emphasis on
exciting,
that. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So that's why I was hoping my daughter would like it.
I can see, because I would be lapping it up.
Yeah, I just think it sounds great. They have so their school is located on the Haarlemmerstraat. That's their main building. It's a lovely building, and then they also have 2 art houses that they use as well, Kunst buildings in the Westerpark. You know the Westerpark?
Yeah. And
then they have another dependence. That's what they call it. It's kind of like another building, school building, on the corner of the Brouwersgracht. So Yeah. So kids, I suppose, have to move between those schools. So if you think about that, that's unusual. So your child would have to be okay with that, moving around the city, if you like, to go to different areas of the school once or twice a week.
Sorry, does that movement kick in from the very first year, or is it something that they do?
And that I don't know.
Okay.
But I have I think it does. I don't think that. Yeah. I mean, I think. Again, one of their things is, you need to be an independent person to come to our school as well. So in a way, like nearly the opposite of what we were saying about Fons Lyceum, sort of. Yeah. Who take you in and give you, little hug.
Cocoon.
Yeah. So, let me see. I'm not sure if it's from first year. I can't be sure about that. But I would imagine so, because like I was saying to you, kids cycle everywhere anyway. So you could be cycling 30 minutes to your school age 12 through the city. So it's just something that is part. It is, yeah. Oh yeah. So I was saying they took their first pupils, I think, in 2016, and they've deliberately kept it small because partly to do with, I suppose, their development of their education model, but also they just wanted to kind of get the right combination of pupils, and they were also limited as well by the buildings that they had, so for this year 2021 they're going to have 350 pupils places, whereas I think last year or the year before it was 300. So they're slowly building it up, trying to, holding on to the quality, and that's kind of part of their plan. They there were some, my friend, she would say that there were definitely like teething problems, in the school in the first couple of years because of it was a new school. It was a new education model for Amsterdam. And she would say that those teething problems have largely been ironed out now.
Great. And being such a new school then, are there students who have finished? Well, there must be by now, aren't there? That's 2015, you say it started, so there must be graduates from that school by now. And is there any other, is there information about how the students have performed, or because a lot of schools rely on a reputation, but obviously being such a new school, it can't do that just yet. So how do you sort of measure it? Measure the success of?
Well, I suppose one measurement is how many kids get their diploma at the end of the year, at the end of their school years there. So that's a good question, because I didn't see. Well, you see, it's not going to be as easy to figure that out with the Vinse school, I think, because they have quite a lot of Zijn instromers. They've lots of they have kids coming in second, third, fourth year. So it's probably a little bit different for them as well. But I can't tell you right now who starts and who finishes.
Okay.
So because then I would really have to dig deep down into their website.
That's all you can do to keep up your 12 school research. For the entry level, never mind the outcomes. So whoever wants to find out that information, I'm sure it's all there in the school plan, which is on the website. Every school has their school plan up, and all those details are there. Okay.
So, you can even find, like, if you really want to, you can find, and I've done this because I'm a bit nerdy when it comes to these kinds of things. With some schools, you can find the school inspection report and read it. That's all online as well.
Okay. Yeah.
So, if you have the time.
Yes.
Who's got the time for that? But you might find the time if you really want to know it.
Just not now while you're drawing up your shortlist.
So let's see what else. The other thing with the Vinse school, you can complete your diploma or part of your diploma faster. So say, for example, a HAFO diploma would take you normally 5 years. If you want, you can do it in 4 years, or you can do part of it within 4 years. If you want to get some subjects out of the way that maybe you are really good at or whatever, you can do them in fourth year, and then you have more time to focus on the rest of your subjects for your final exam year. Yeah, they just have. There's a lot of flexibility there, and it's really creative. Yeah, it's really creative.
It does sound wonderful.
and like I said, you can also follow some subjects at different levels, which is really unusual. Because this is kind of a new thing, and lots of parents would love to have this option in the Netherlands, but generally here you take all of your subjects at the same level. So all of your subjects would be at HAVO level, all of your subjects would be at VWO level. And that's tough, because that means then you have to have the same level. You have to be really good then at all your subjects. Do you know? Whereas obviously in Ireland, the UK, it's totally different. You can take one subject at honours level, one at regular level, whatever, A level, O level, you know. So the Vinse school offers the option to take them at different levels, which is nice. It's really nice for some kids who would like that.
Yeah, very good. All right, so that's covered quite a broad range then today, from the sort of the more academic or classically structured Fons Vitae, and now this more creative approach at Visne.
Yes. Vinse, yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Vinse. You get it.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, so anyway, my friend would really, like, her son he loved it. So again, like, doesn't it show how all of these schools they're also individual in ways, or the kids are also individual. So it's just about trying to find a school that
finding the
works for
best
you.
match.
And usually the school you end up in probably is going to be that school. You probably are going to be very happy there, or happy.
Yeah.
But if you're not, the option is certainly there to side transfer.
Yeah.
And
fantastic.
It's great.
It is, really, really good. All right, well, thank you for that, Margaret. Are we back next week with another Middlebare Mashup?
We are. Yeah. I'll tell you now continuing my hunt. I'll tell you now the schools that I'll be talking about next week, because we have some stuff going on this week for them. MLA, it's a Montessori Lyceum school. It's there on the hub in Macada, I think. So that's a Montessori high school. Spinoza Lyceum, which is in Amsterdam South. Cartesius Lyceum, which is in West. And also, I had mentioned Barleas, in our very first one. I remember I had kind of gone through quickly with Barleas. We had 3 schools there. Amsterdam's Lyceum, and then there was another one. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I've more detail about these schools now.
Okay, yeah.
So my daughter's going to be doing a couple of their lessons, the Barleas lessons, live online. And actually, I think, let me think. Is she going to a live? She might be going to a live thing. Next Tuesday, yes. At the moment, Barleas have live physical in their school little open lessons.
Wow.
That's still there. Now look, maybe I'll get a letter or an email later on today saying we can't do it, but that's why I have Barleas on the list to talk about next week, because if she gets in the school it'll be great, because she's never actually seen it inside. So that's next week. And the other thing I just wanted to say as well is that, like, again, I mentioned it last week, there's lots of things changing, so keep looking at the websites of the schools. What Vossius have also done, I got an email yesterday, the day before, they have now, from the first week of March, you can register for each day. They have a subject live stream, if you like, with the teacher and pupils, where they'll talk about their subject, and you can ask direct questions as well on their live stream. So that's a new thing they just put up on their website there yesterday or the day before. So if you want to check out in more detail Vossius, you can look on their website and register for that. And was there another little thing that Alaska, which we had covered actually in the first week, they have they had technical problems or something with their live stream, so they have the live stream now is available on their website for another 2 weeks.
Okay.
And you can also register now at Alaska for their questions and answer dates. They have 4 dates on their website. You can register, and it's literally going to be questions and answers.
Yeah.
Not a presentation as such, but
just an opportunity
to just ask. And they'll have one day they have the Zorg coordinator, who would be like the care coordinator, care team. coordinator and 2 students. Another day they have the rector and 2 students. Another day, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's Alaska. So there are 2 schools that have updated. I mean, there's probably loads more, but right now they're the ones that come to the top of my head.
Yeah. Well, the schools are really doing their best to try and
they are
demonstrate what they're offering in a way, all this virtual way.
Yeah, they're really trying to reach the kids, because it's totally new for them as well. And I think they know how tricky it is for everybody.
Yeah, so hats off to them for all their efforts on that front. Really good. Okay, well,
I was just going to say, I just found my notes. My daughter is really funny. But her notes are all in Dutch, of course, and she made notes on all of the schools that we've been looking at. And I remember at the beginning, she was like, a little eager beaver, and she was writing down loads of stuff. And then she looked at, was it Metis Montessori there a few nights ago at their webinar, and after 10 minutes she said, I just can't do this anymore.
No, poor thing.
And I said, really, come on, it's like a great school, which it is. They focus on a lot of coding and robotics and stuff like that. They have a technosium actually within their school. But she just said, look, it's a Montessori school, and I've decided I don't want to go to Montessori for secondary, for Middlebare.
Okay.
I've done it for primary, which she loves. She loves her Montessori school. But she wants to go to a regular school for Middlebare school. But I'm just looking at her notes here. She's like me with note taking. It's like small little writing, and she's getting everything in there as much as possible. Oh, I just see, which I don't think I did mention about Fons Lyceum, 55% boys, 45% girls. She's written down here. I see it in the corner.
Yeah. Very good.
Okay, so I think that's it. We'll wrap it up.
Yes, thank you. Well, that's tons of information there on those 3 schools. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. As I say, you'll be back next week with another oversight on quite a few more schools, actually.
Four more schools next week. Yes,
perfect.
Yeah, and plus, actually, next week I didn't get to it today. We didn't have time, but another review on the Classe documentary.
Oh yes,
as well.
yes.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that. I want to find out more about how these students have been getting on. Me too. Yeah, great.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you very much, Margaret. Have a great week. Good luck with the ongoing research to you and your daughter.
Thanks a million.
Broadcast Amsterdam.
Broadcast Amsterdam, your local radio station, 24/7 and on demand. Or on broadcastamsterdam.nl.